Danielle, and today we will work towards getting unstuck. You can reflect upon what that means to you and how that can be useful in your own life. This past week, I have noticed a trend towards regression in some of my interpersonal interactions, in particular with family members. And it's just reminded me of how easy it can be to slip back into old patterns and habits, especially when they're tangled up in a dynamic with another human being. Even when intellectually we know that those behavioral patterns no longer serve us, and probably never did to begin with. So it's 11:11 today, and it feels like the perfect time to harness the magic of yoga to navigate through some stuckedness. And we are going to explore that in a very physical and literal and anatomical sense. And we will also use the way that we move and the way that we invite in stillness also when we need that, to appreciate how the way that we hold space for ourselves and the way that we communicate with ourselves becomes the seed energy that we use to interact with the world around us. And that same seed energy also is the fuel that we tap into to evolve ourselves, to keep working towards our higher purpose. So 11:11 is a numerical call to action to align our thoughts with our highest version of self. And before we drop into the practice, though, I do want to say that yesterday I stumbled upon Fairy Light Yoga. And if you haven't checked them out already, please do. I took a Kundalini class on their YouTube channel that just made me feel so much more at ease in my skin, helped me shake off some old funk, and definitely inspired this class that I'm sharing with y'all today. So I want to give a shout out in their direction. That is an area also of progress that I am embracing as an individual. I don't have a very large social media presence at all, but I do want to make sure that the more time I spend here, the more that I share the energy with other witches. I think that is so important. It can be so easy to get dragged into social media tendencies, which are competitive tendencies. And I think it's important to remember that we're all sharing this light together. And it's so important to continue to boost other witches. So that said, I'm going to meet you on your mat on your back. And begin in a constructive rest with your spine heavy on your mat, knees bent and touching, feet separated wide. Bring your hands to your belly and start to track your breath as it flows in and out with the rise and fall of your palms. And the next time that you breathe out, part your lips and press your palms gently into your abdomen and let that last little bit of stagnation leave your body. And then breathe in and open your arms wide. And as you exhale, windshield wiper the knees side to side, working into the outer hips as you roll from the outer ankles to the inner arches of your feet. And then slow that down, gather your knees to your chest, give them a squeeze. Sink your low back deep into the mat and then circle out the knees one way and then the other. Circling left and right, softening the shoulders and the facial muscles along the way. And bring your left foot to the mat and catch hold of your right foot in your right hand. Half happy baby. So just stir that hip around as you ground the opposite hip with your left hand. And we'll go outer circles and inner circles. Then cross that ankle over your left thigh, flex the foot, figure four. We're going to tip onto the left hip and bring the right foot to the floor. Open the opposite arm, look over in that direction, and use your left hand to gently press your right thigh away from you. come back to a figure 4, the hips at neutral. Lift your left knee towards your chest and begin to circle it around, all the while maintain that flexed status in the right foot. And then bring your left foot to the mat, extend your other foot to the sky, circle it around, and then bring that foot down to land. We'll take half happy baby on the opposite side. Stir it up one way, and then the other. Just mindful that the shoulders are as heavy as possible into the ground. Take that figure 4, and then lower that foot to the opposite side of the mat. Using the right hand, now press the left thigh gently away from you. Open your left arm and breathe your breath. Coming back to figure 4 with the hips on the ground first, and then give them a stir. Lift the right knee towards your chest, circling one way and the other. Stir that thigh. Bring the right foot to the ground, opposite foot to the sky. Circle out the left ankle. And then we'll bring both feet in the air. Tip the toes towards your nose. And then gather the knees to your chest. Squeeze them in tight. And we'll cactus the arms so your elbows line up with your shoulders, and drop both knees in alignment to the left, one stacked on top of the other. Turn your chin towards your right shoulder. Breathe up the spine and out. And float the knees back up over the hips and drop them over to the other side. And gentle supine twist. No need to force anything. Just let the breath and gravity work together in your favor. And then gather your knees back to your chest. Begin to gradually add momentum, rocking back towards the top of the head and then up towards the tailbone. Breathing in as you rock back and breathing out as you rock forward. Eventually bring your palms to the mat and walk your knees back under your hips. This is tabletop. Softening into a cow pose, belly drops, hips and heart rise up. Cat pose, round your spine, push the ground away. And continue to move more or less in a cow and cat configuration, but let it become more and more like your own movement, just getting acquainted with your own circumstances and paying extra attention to those areas that might feel a little stuck. Just move in with your breath. Flexing the spine. We'll take this to another cat pose together. Walk your knees to touch, and then press your hips back to your heels and roll up to a hero pose, Virasana. Inhale your arms overhead, and exhale, bring your hands to your shoulder caps, thumbs behind you, and we'll start a Kundalini Kriya called washing machine. Inhale to the left, twist your torso. Exhale, twist right. Continue to move like that, inhaling left, exhaling right, and set yourself free as you wring it all out. Eyes can close. Continue to grow tall through the spine. Contract your navel towards your spine as you breathe out, twisting right. That's the way. Stay with it. And smooth out the edges between the inhales and the exhales. The exhales and the inhales. Allow your breath and your action to merge together faster or slower, depending on what your body and your mind require right now. You're doing great, almost there. And release in the action. And then inhale, both elbows up. We're going to lock that breath in, lock in the bandha. So lift from the pelvic floor, suction the navel to the spine, tuck the chin slightly. And then exhale, release the arms. And release your whole self back to child's pose. Bring your knees out wide. Press your hips to your heels. Surrender your forehead to the ground. And let your elbows relax. And the breath will start to level out into its preferred cadence. So you can spice it up with some texture. And then walk both hands over to the left, stack the right hand on top of the other, and then drop your head back between your arms and find a stretch along that right shoulder into the hip. And walk the hands to center, neutralize. And try that same kind of stretch on the opposite side, left hand on top of right. Sink the hips back towards the heels, breathe your breath. We'll walk those hands back to center and pull on up, tenting the palms and finding another tabletop. This time ground your toes, pull your elbows to your knees, dip your chest and your chin to the mat, Ashtanga Namaskar, and then slide on through to a low cobra for starters. Then hop your hands to the outside of the mat, tent the palms again, and dip your left shoulder down to the mat, look over the opposite shoulder, and then try that on the other side. Just moving side to side with your own breath. Anchor through the tops of your feet. Loosening tension around the shoulders and the neck. Letting the lower body support that endeavor. Now lift to the center, breathe in. As you exhale, unravel yourself right back down to the ground. Park your hands under your shoulders and press all the way back to your child's pose. Balasana. Returning home again. Breathe out. Next breath in, come back to tabletop, and then exhale back to an Ashtanga Namaskar. Inhale, cobra. This time float the palms beneath the shoulders, squeeze the elbows. And then exhale, lower your forehead. Tuck your toes, push your palms into the mat, and inhale to a plank pose. Now, if you don't want this, you can take tabletop instead. Everyone, puff up the space between the shoulder blades. And then find downward facing dog Adho Mukha. Lift your hips and drop your head. Start to move to the top of one foot and then the other. And settle into your center. Again, breathing up the spine and out the mouth. Shake out your head. Wherever you're feeling tension, let it go. We're going to lead with the back of the heart now, back to plank pose. Use an exhale to return to child's pose. Inhale to your tabletop. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin to the mat. Inhale, low cobra, Bhujangasana. Float the palms. Exhale, forehead to the ground. Tuck your toes. Inhale to your plank or your tabletop. And exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg now, three-legged dog. Square the hips and the shoulders. Look forward and step to a low lunge. As soon as that foot arrives, reach the right arm forward and then circle, sweep that hand to the sky. Simple twist. And we'll drop that hand forward and down to the mat and step back to down dog. Inhaling out to plank. Exhale, Ashtanga Namaskar. This time find an upward facing dog. Pump your heart forward and lift your thighs. Exhale, downward facing dog. Hips high, head towards the earth. Inhale the left leg high. Exhale, low lunge. Turn it into your simple twist. Left hand forward and then up to the sky. Before we return that hand forward and down to the ground and step back to down dog. And then inhale, plank pose. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin. Inhale to your up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful. Inhale that right leg high again. Exhale, low lunge. This time soften the left knee down to the mat. Take crescent moon. And take a Padme mudra, lotus mudra. Lift it up overhead and drag that left hip forward. And then we'll return the palms to the mat and circle sweep the right hand to the sky, simple twist. Replant that right hand, step back, downward facing dog. And inhale, plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga, knee elbows to the ribs, lower halfway. You can also do that on the knees. Find your up dog, unless you prefer cobra, in which case do that, and we'll meet again in down dog. Inhale the left leg high. Exhale, low lunge. We'll find that crescent moon here. Right knee comes down. Take your Padme mudra, lift it up through the mud, send it overhead. Hug that left knee inward. And then we'll take that simple twist. Right palm to the mat. Circle, sweep the left arm back and around to the sky. Full range of motion as you return that left hand to the mat and step back down dog. Inhale to your plank. Exhale, lower some kind of way. And breathe in to open your heart, either cobra or up dog, and return with an exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, the right leg lifts. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale to crescent moon, and exhale to that simple twist. This time we'll take a forward fold. So drop the right hand to the top of the mat, step the left foot up, line it up with the other, and hang out in Ragdoll Uttanasana. Let it be soft. Bending one knee, then the other. Sway the head, side to side and front to back. Consider taking hold of the elbows and just letting everything fall into gravity. And then we'll soften the knees and roll on up to stand. If you have your hands on elbows, you can keep them there. As we find this upward salute with the hands on the elbows, create some framework and then drop your arms to your sides. Mountain pose, Tadasana. Let the shoulders drip down your back as the palms face forward. And then find your Padme mudra. Hold it in front of your heart. Recenter your intentions. You can gaze down into the palms. And then lift that mudra up overhead. Turn it into a prayer. Bend your knees. Come down to a forward fold. Step back onto the right toes and bring that knee down for crescent moon. And we'll return to down dog. You can stay here or flow through another vinyasa. Just move with your breath. Even if that movement is very subtle when you're holding down dog. Raise your left leg, inhale. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, crescent moon. And exhale, simple twist. Drop the left hand down. Step the right foot up to meet the other. Find a halfway lift, hands on the shins. And then a deep forward fold, hands on the calves as you move your forehead closer to your shins. Let's rise all the way up like a swan dive in reverse, arms wide, upward salute. Take that mudra, turn it into a prayer, and pull that prayer down to a forward fold. And then step back onto the left knee, crescent moon. And exhale, downward facing dog. Again, you can stay here, or you can move through your vinyasa. You're still taking those chaturangas. Please be mindful that the elbows hug to the ribs as you lower. And then from down dog, left leg lifts. Inhale, exhale, low lunge. Inhale, crescent moon. And exhale, simple twist. Inhale to your half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Breathe into your upward salute and breathe out to your forward fold again. Step back onto the left knee. Inhale, crescent moon. And exhale, downward facing dog. Again, stay or move through that vinyasa. Follow your own rhythm. Honor that. And we'll lift the right leg, breathing in. Exhale, low lunge. Left knee comes down, crescent moon, inhale. And exhale, simple twist. And breathe into your halfway lift at the top. And exhale, deep forward fold. Swan dive in reverse, upward salute as you fill your lungs. Swan dive back down to the ground as you forward fold. Step back onto the right knee, crescent moon, fill your lungs. And exhale, down dog. Bend your knees, lift your heels, look between the palms. The bottom of the next breath, arrive in a forward fold at the top, and then take your half lift to reset your spine and fold deeply over both legs again. And we'll bend those knees. And sweep the arms forward and up to chair pose. Get a hold of your elbows the opposite way this time, and let your tailbone drop down to neutral. Then press the shins forward and release the arms overhead. Take diver's pose from here. Squeeze the thighs and lift your heels. Sweep the arms back. Let your heart fall towards your toes. Plant your palms here. Let's bend the elbows and step or float back to chaturanga. Follow your heart to cobra or up dog and return downward facing dog. Reclaim your breath. And then lift your left leg. We'll take scorpion dog. Bend the knee and circle out that hip. Keep the shoulders squared off. Look between the hands, step to a low lunge. This time plant the right heel and come up to warrior one. Stack the left knee over that ankle and drag the right hip forward, lined up with the other side. Let's peel that open to warrior two. Press your right heel towards the back of the mat to open more space between the feet. And then flip your left palm, take peaceful warrior, fall back. And exhale to a simple twist. Plant the right palm to the mat, raise the left hand to the sky, and then turn your left toes out to the left. We're going to roll onto the knife edge of the right foot. High horizon lunge, reach up, left arm overhead, and then low horizon lunge, dip the hips and reach back towards the back of the mat. Do that a few more times. Aim to keep the heart wide open and stand into your left foot. And then sweep around to down dog, where you can stay or move through another vinyasa. You've always got those choices. Right leg up, bend the knee, peel the hip open. Again, you can stir it up if it feels good. Just keep the shoulders squared off. And low lunge. Warrior one, plant to the left heel, rise up and sweep those arms up. Gather the front ribs together. And we'll peel open to warrior two. Right knee stacks back over the ankle. Hug the left thigh up towards the bone. Flip that right palm and fall back. Peaceful warrior. Lift out of the left side body. And cartwheel down to a simple twist. Left hand to the mat, right hand to the sky. Turn the right toes out. Set up your high horizon lunge first. Come to the knife edge of the right foot. Reach the right arm overhead. I meant the left foot. Yeah, there you go. Dip it down, low horizon. Move with your breath here. Standing into the right foot. Working through all those sticky spots. Swim back to down dog and breathe out. Stay or move through that flow. Listen to your intuition and listen to your breath. Let it be an important guide in this process. Left leg lift, scorpion. Inhale. Exhale, tap that knee to the right elbow. Take three-legged dog, lengthen and square off. And exhale, low lunge. Plant the back heel. Inhale, warrior one. And exhale, warrior two. Now here's a change. Bring your right hand to meet the left and drag yourself around to the back of the mat. Lower the left knee, crescent moon. Send that lotus flower overhead and behind you. And then move into a standing L shape. Bring your hands down to frame your right foot and float your left heel up in line with that hip. Think of this as a one-legged ragdoll. And then take a bow, cosmic curtsy. Left knee behind the right. Bend both knees and wing the arms back. Find a chair pose from that place. And then diver pose. Squeeze the thighs, lift the heels. Plant your palms, bend your elbows. Step or float back, chaturanga. Follow your heart. And come back to down dog. Right leg up, bend the knee. And then bring that knee to the left elbow. Three-legged dog, lengthen, square off. Then exhale, low lunge. Plant the back heel, warrior one, inhale. And exhale, warrior two. And this time, left hand finds the right. We're going to move towards the top of the mat. Lower the right knee, crescent moon. Send that lotus behind you. And exhale, standing L shape. Lift out of the left hip. And raise that right heel to hip level. Release the weight of your head. And then take a bow, cosmic curtsy. Chair pose. Exhale, diver pose. Suction the navel up. And then drop those hands down to the mat. We'll move into crow pose. Bring your knees to the backs of the arms. Arms are like chaturanga now. Now you can lift the feet if that's calling to you. Squeeze the elbows together and then step or float back to your chaturanga. Move with your breath from there back to down dog. Scorpion dog on the left, inhale. Tap that knee to the opposite elbow, exhale. Come back to scorpion with a breath in and then bring that knee to the left shoulder as you breathe out. Three-legged dog, inhale and exhale, low lunge. Inhale up to your warrior one and exhale, warrior two. Inhale to the back of the mat. Take that crescent moon and exhale, standing L shape or standing splits if you'd like to lift the leg higher. Exhale, cosmic curtsy and inhale to your chair pose. This time, exhale, bring hands to a prayer and take a revolved chair to the right. Bring that elbow outside the knee or place it between the knees. You can also open the arms wide if that helps your breath flow more deeply, or you can bring those chaturanga arms down, climb aboard the left tricep, and take a side crow, either stacking the knees or extending that top leg out. And let's come to Padangusthasana. When you are ready to move on, take your peace fingers, wrap them around your big toes, and then drop your head down. Knees can be soft here. Sway side to side. Reclaim your space. Now we're going to keep a hold of that right big toe. Bring the left hand to the hip and bend both knees as you rise up, taking the right foot with you. Utthita Padangusthasana. Lean back and find your center. Now you can keep your hand to the toe or you can move it to your knee. If you've got the big toe in your grip, you can extend that leg forward. If you've got the hand on the knee, I want you to eventually open that knee to the right. And of course, if the leg is extended, you've got the option to do that. Left arm can just drop down or counterbalance. Maybe look over to the left. Keep lifting out of the standing leg. Breathing the breath. Now we're going to bend that knee and plant a tree. Guide the sole of the right foot to the left inseam, anywhere above or below the knee. And then take that lotus blossom in front of your heart. Lift it on up through the mud. Let it find its way to the top. And then release your arms out wide. Air tree, float the foot away from the thigh and take a bow, cosmic curtsy. Now plant your palms, either step back or with those spring-loaded legs, float your way back to a one-legged chaturanga with the right leg floating. And then come through with the heart, cobra or up dog. Find your way back to downward facing dog. And we'll lift the right leg, scorpion, inhale. Exhale, tap the elbow. Inhale, scorpion. And exhale, tap the right shoulder. Three-legged dog, breath in. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. Good. Left hand finds the right. Pull yourself around and down to a crescent moon as you breathe in. Exhale, standing L shape or splits. Take that cosmic curtsy and your chair pose. We'll add our revolved chair here. Make sure those knees are stacked in alignment there. Sink the hips below the heart. Twist to your heart's content. And releasing what does not serve here. Maybe it's an outdated self-imposed limitation. So try out that side crow if it's calling to you. Extending the top leg if it feels good. And we'll meet back in Padangusthasana. Peace fingers around the big toes. Bend the knees if you'd like, or lengthen the tailbone towards the sky. Either way, we're going to move side to side. Reclaim that breath. So this time, left big toe stays inside that grip. Right hand moves to the hip. As you rise up, take the left foot with you. And then choose your choices. You can stay with the knee or extend the leg. Everyone open that hip to the left. Keep lifting out of that standing leg. That's the way, breathing your breath. Tree pose. Guide the foot to the inseam of the standing leg. And then find that Padme mudra. Let's lift it up. And release the arms and the energy out wide. Air tree, inhale. And exhale, cosmic curtsy, take a bow. Plant your palms, step or float back. This time the left leg in the air, one-legged chaturanga. Move with your breath back to that home base of down dog. And exhale. Left leg lifts, inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, low lunge and inhale up to warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. Next breath in takes you to the back of the mat, crescent moon. And exhale, standing splits. All right, change up here. Pull that left knee to the chest. Rise up to a one-legged upward salute, aka a crane pose. Lift the knee, lift the arms, and then take a bow, cosmic curtsy. Breathe out. Inhale, palms to the mat. Exhale, step or float back, chaturanga. Follow your heart. And again, your rhythm is important here. Let's lift that left leg again. Inhale. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, warrior one. And exhale, warrior two. Bring the hands together. Inhale, crescent moon at the top. And exhale, standing splits. Inhale the knee to the chest, rising to your crane pose. And let's add on here. Now open up that knee and then cross the left ankle on top of the right thigh, figure four. You can bring the arms out wide as you sink into that right hip. Keep the left foot flexed and bring your hands to a prayer. Now you can stay here or add on a twist. Hands to a prayer. Move the left elbow to the sole of the left foot. And from that place, you might open the arms wide, or you can bring the hands to the mat again. Find those chaturanga arms. Stand the foot onto the tricep and extend the lower leg out to the left. That's a grasshopper pose. And once you have moved through your own choices, we'll meet in a gorilla pose. So forward fold with the feet at least hip distance apart and stand on your palms. Pedal out the knees, wiggle your toes against your wrists, and let your head fall. Then liberate those hands and walk the feet out wide. Turn the toes out and lower your hips to Malasana garland squats. Bring that Padme in front of the heart. If the heels are trying to lift up, you can sit on a block. Recenter yourself, and then plant the palms and bend the elbows, look forward, lift the hips, step or float back chaturanga, squeezing the thighs together as the toes land. And move with your breath back to down dog. And raise your right leg, inhale, and exhale, low lunge. Inhale, warrior one, and exhale, warrior two. Bring the left hand to the right. Inhale your way to the back of the mat, Anjaneyasana, crescent moon. And exhale, standing splits or L shape. Knee to the chest. Inhale, crane pose. And exhale, cosmic curtsy. Hands to the mat. Take a breath in. And exhale, step or float back. Ride your breath. Find your way back home. Raise that right leg again. Inhale. Exhale, low lunge. Warrior one, breath in. And warrior two as you exhale. Left hand to the right. Inhale as you pull your way back to the top of the mat into your crescent moon. And exhale, standing splits. Crane pose. Take your time. Rise. And then open up that right knee. And find your figure four. Bend the left knee. Flex the right foot. Consider adding that twist. And open the arms. Sometimes that actually makes it easier to sustain that shape. And of course, this other option, grasshopper pose. With the right elbow to the sole of the foot. Bring the hands down and bend your elbows towards you. And you can stop any step along the way. Eventually, at some point, maybe that lower leg lifts and sweeps out to the side. Gorilla pose. That will be our segue towards Malasana again. So toes out, hips down, recenter. And either stay just as you did before, or add some twists here. Left hand bracing the left shins and the opposite arm to the sky. Turn and look at that hand. Come back to the center. And try that on the other side. Yeah, and you can do the same thing on each side again, or perhaps this time add a bind. Wrap that left arm in front of the shin. And gather the hands together at the outer hip. You could also use a strap or any kind of stand-in for a strap, like a scarf, a leash. Should open that right shoulder and look over it. And then unravel back to the center. And see what happens on the other side. And as we work into these binds, just notice what feels like it's catching along the way. And send your breath there. And then unravel, loosen up, come back to the center. Let the breath flow. And we'll walk our hands behind us and lower down to the tailbone. Gather the shins to the chest. So we're going to find our balance on our way into Navasana, boat pose. Roll the shoulders down onto the ears. Float the shins parallel with the floor. And you can keep hold of the backs of the legs. You can keep the knees bent. Or you can lengthen the legs and or reach to the sky. Remember, this is your practice. And this is your own process of coming out of a stuckedness. At some point, gather knees to the chest and curl in. And then begin some spinal rolls, inhaling back towards the head and exhaling back up to the tailbone. Gather momentum. Eventually, maybe plant the palms and float back chaturanga. And flow back to your down dog. Lift your left leg, inhale. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, devotional warrior, Bhakti Virabhadrasana. Clasp your hands behind you. Surrender your heart and your head forward and your knuckles overhead into gravity. And then release the hands to frame your left foot. Lengthen that leg by pulling the femur back towards the hip socket. Lift halfway and then lower your head. And continue to move like that with your own breath, lifting halfway, maybe even lift those front toes. And exhale, release the torso back down. And walk your hands to the right, Prasarita. Parallel your feet so all 10 toes point towards that side of the mat, and then move into each knee. And walk the hands out, take a halfway lift. Now we're going to turn to the back of the mat and take crescent moon again. This time pull your hands to a prayer at your heart and bring the left elbow outside the right knee, revolved lunge. And you can keep that back knee grounded or tuck the toes and lift it away from the ground. Lengthen the spine, whatever you do. Eke out that last little bit of sensation in your twist. And lower down to lizard lunge. Bring the hands to the inside of that right foot. And then point those right toes out and stack the knee over the ankle. You can come right down to the forearms, or you can take a twisted bind by bending the left knee and catching that foot in the right hand. Deepen that sensation by lowering to the left forearm. Maybe roll to the outer edge of the right foot. Everyone can chill on both forearms for a bit. Again, what comes up in the still moments? And walk your hands to the mat, tuck those back toes, scorpion dog. Lift the right knee, open that hip. You can stay or flip to a wild thing. Maybe even turn that into a half wheel by bending both knees, planting both feet, or even a full wheel if you can bring that right hand to the floor as well. Swim back to down dog, and let's meet in a puppy pose. Anahtasana, lower knees to the mat, lift your hips, sink your chest to the ground. And rest your chin or your forehead, see which feels best on your neck. And then we'll walk the hands back underneath the shoulders and lift to an upward facing dog. First looking over the right shoulder and then gazing over to the left. And we'll come back to the center, roll over the toes, and return to downward facing dog. Raise that right leg. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, warrior one. And exhale, devotional warrior. Try clasping the hands with the opposite thumb on top this time. Give that right shoulder plenty of clearance. If you need to walk the foot out to the right, do that. And seal down the left foot. And rinse it all out. And then take that pyramid pose transition. Drag that right thigh bone back, square the hips, lengthen the front leg, lift the chest, and then lower the head back down. Lifting again with your breath. And then lowering back down. One more time, maybe even lift those front toes. And releasing to that pyramid pose. And we'll walk things to the left, taking Prasarita, straddle fold. Press the heels out. Now you can stay, or you can move with me into a tripod headstand. Use those chaturanga arms and lower the top of the head towards the mat. Keep hugging the elbows in and shrugging shoulders out of the ears as you sweep the legs out and up to the sky. With the energy moving to the feet. You might even bring the soles of the feet together, opening the knees. And then twisting the lower body to the right and to the left. Continue to hug those elbows in to keep things squared off in the upper body. And then opening the feet far apart. And slowly, slowly, slowly control the descent as you bring your feet back to earth. Everyone meet in a half lifted Prasarita. And walk the hands back to the top of the mat, crescent moon. Find that prayer and your revolved lunge. Elbow outside the knee. Remember, you can keep the back knee grounded or lift it up. And sometimes that lifted knee provides a more satisfying twist. See what your body, what your mind, what your soul need today. And then we'll come down to our lizard lunge. Take that bind if you know you want it. And everyone can come down onto the forearm or forearms to take a load off the wrists. Consider rolling to the outer edge of that left foot. Give yourself ample time to chill and process. When you feel balanced, work your way back to Scorpion Dog. And then choose to stay there or flip it over. Maybe find that half or full wheel. And swim back to Down Dog in your own timeline, your own way. The knees will come down to the mat. And we'll sit back in a hero pose. And drop your chin to your chest and roll your right ear to the right shoulder. Lift your chin to the sky and then circle back to the other side. So we're just going to inhale as the chin centers and exhale as the chin lifts to the sky. And then change directions. And let go of what you're hanging on to. In the neck or between the ears. And come back to the center. Take your mudra. Take some time to reflect on how you feel. Consider the many ways in which you have, like the lotus, risen above the mud, the muck, the mire. And then lift that mudra up and lift your hips away from your heels. Let's bring our hands to our low back into Camel pose, Ustrasana. Use your hands to press the hips forward over the knees. And then release your head back, allowing space at the back of the neck. Now, if you can keep all that structure and still grab for your heels, go for it. Send your heart skyward, another cycle of breath. And come out with support, hands back to the sacrum, lift up, and then sink back to Virasana, hero pose. Breathe through what you're feeling. Notice what is now, what's maybe an attachment to a previous experience. Maybe anxiety about what might happen next. We're going to lift up and come right back into our camel pose with an option when we get here to stay, to deepen if you did it before, or to bring the arms up overhead, toes are tucked, send your palms to the mat, and take a wheel transition from that camel pose. The ultimate physical gesture of getting unstuck around the heart space. And then tucking the chin to the chest, lowering down from that wheel if that's where you ended up. If you were in camel pose, get out the same way you did before. And then come down to your back. So let's meet in a constructive rest again. Knees touching, feet wide. Reach the arms out wide. Bring your hands to opposite shoulders. And then switch the crossing. And windshield wiper those knees side to side again. Slow it all down. Contemplate how you feel right now versus that first version of this shape we took at the start of practice. Then gather your knees towards your chest and move your hands to your feet. Happy baby, Bakasana. Stand into your hands and then bend your right heel towards the glute and lengthen your left leg. Come back to the center and try that on the other side. And we'll move side to side with the breath. So inhale, left leg out. And exhale, right leg out. Just keep on going. And set yourself free as you continue to move side to side with your breath. Freeing any residual tension that's hanging around those hips, and the thighs, and even the feet themselves. And then even it out, come to your happy baby. And then bring the feet together. Waterfall pose, palms to the mat. Now we're going to lift into a plow pose. So you can do this with hands on the hips or with the hands on the mat, lifting the hips up over the shoulders. Send your feet towards the ground above your head. And either keep your hands to the low back for security or interlace the hands and press that one fist you've made into the ground as the hips rise higher. And then coming out, see about reaching for the feet. We're going to roll right up into a seat. Cobbler's pose. Now the feet are touching. The soles of the feet are together. Knees are open wide. Rock forward and then rock right back to plow pose. So we're going to fold forward, head towards the feet, and then rock back to plow pose as we inhale. Exhale, cobblers. Inhale, plow. Do your best to fix your gaze on the ceiling as you rock back. Protect your neck. Ride your breath. Release as much joy through your body as possible. Kind of like a return to preschool, that Kriya. Now we're going to fold into a spacious cobbler's pose. Walk your hips back and either lower your forehead to a block or to the arches of your own feet. Option to open the arms here and walk them away from you. Head gets heavier towards the feet or into that prop every time you breathe out. And then roll up to a seat. Bring the knees together like you're closing a book. Extend the legs forward. Sweep the arms up and then fold your torso over your legs. Paschimottanasana. Let your head fall to the shins. Look up, gaze towards your toes. Broaden those collarbones. And then roll up to a seat. We're going to dig in through the heels, reach for the toes and lower down bone by bone, resisting gravity along the way. But once the back of your head arrives, you can fully release into Shavasana. Scan your body. Notice what's in contact with the ground. Can you give those parts of you over just a little bit more? Set your breath free. Stay as long as you need to. When you are ready to reconnect with the world around you from this centered place of self-connection, you can start to deepen your breath. And we bring movement back to your fingers and your toes, your ankles and your wrists. And stretch out long. Let your low back peel away from the mat. And then gather your knees to your chest and sink your low back down to the ground again. And then in your own way, begin to make your way up to a seat. And that is where we'll meet. And as you sit tall and comfortably, stretch your arms out wide, bring them up overhead, and then pull that lotus blossom down right in front of your heart again. Just gaze down into the center of that Padme. It's allowing your breath to resume its natural and preferred rhythm. Inviting in these words from Rumi. Are you searching for your soul? Then come out of your prison, leave the stream, and join the river that flows into the ocean. Absorbed in this world, you've made it your burden. Rise above this world. There is another vision. Press your palms together, lift your thumbs up to your third eye, just sealing the deal with your intuition. And this divine spark in me salutes that divine spark in you. Thanks for joining. Namaste, witches.